y'all, it is Crafty Hope here, and this is the second time I'm recording this voiceover because I didn't like the first one. It felt rushed and hurried, and I want this to be fun. So let me tell you what we're doing. I was able to snap up one of the You Me Same Three packets from Tiffany of Southern Gals Designs and Michelle of Mickelnay. And what this is everybody that gets one of these has the same three items, and we're going to create with them. So there was that fun receipt, and this feather from what I assume is one of Tiffany's chickens, and then a piece of lace. So this is a pretty neutral palette. You know, you've got kind of this off-white palette. So I'm going to show you what we're going to do. I started with a 12 by 12 piece of craft paper cardstock, and I'm cutting it in half one way. So it is 12 by 6. And then I'm going to lay it out long ways so that the middle of it is on the 6th line, and then score a 1/4 of an inch on either side so that I have basically in the middle a 1/2 inch piece there to make a journal cover. So that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a journal today. This is a fairly simple one, but I'm kind of excited about what I did here. It's going to be one that gives you prompts for your journal. And so here's what I did. I started with just a little bit of gesso just to kind of get over that blank page, to grunge it up a little bit, and I'm going to add this gesso to both sides, and I'm using a brayer to kind of just give it that organic random feel, so it's nothing purely planned or perfect. And that's all I'm going to do to the inside of it. We're going to focus completely on the, excuse the sounds in the background, I have a kitten in here with me, and she is trying to get into a little bit of everything. Okay, so I'm going to focus purely on the outside, and I am starting with a little bit of Lucas acrylic paint in Payne's Gray and just doing a little splatter with that on there. I wanted to make this, I don't know, in some of my favorite colors, which is fairly, let's not say my favorite colors, let's say my favorite colors to create with, like what paints really make me happy and what I felt would be the most fun to do. So I put that Payne's Gray down, and then I'm going to go ahead and grab that receipt thing. I guess it's a receipt. I don't know what else to call it. So I'm going to just use my Oohoo glue stick and stick it down. You saw I tore it kind of in half. There was a little tiny rip on it. I think that was my fault getting it in and out of the package. And so I just kind of tore it down that line and let it, you know, kind of have a neat little shape to it. And then I'm just going to glue it down. Now the bulk of it, I'm gluing on the, I guess what I'm considering the back side of the journal, because that really is going to be, you see that more later because of what I'm adding to the front of this. So once I get that all down and glued, I'm going to add a couple more little pieces of collage just to integrate some of my stash in there. So I'm starting with a tiny little piece of a handwritten note or handwritten letter. And this one on the left actually has a little bit of instant coffee stained, you know, dripped on there somehow. I'm sure I picked it up off of some other project. And so that's going down along with a piece of eco-dyed paper. I don't even remember what method I used with this, but I know that Tiffany, one of the originators for this challenge, has her own eco-dyed workshop class on her website. So if you want to check that out, I'll have a link to Tiffany's, I guess I can put her Southern Gals Designs website below, but also I'm going to put a link to both her and Michelle's videos so you can see what they created with these same three items. There were 10 packets plus there too, so you have a possibility of seeing 12 different designers create with these same three materials. So I'll link to as many as I can, you know, if anybody else has links besides Michelle and Tiffany, I'll also put those down there, because this is one of my favorite things. I love being part of challenges where everybody has the same things, and you always end up with so many different results. And that, I don't know, is so exciting just to see how everybody else's creativity manifests. So that's why I really want to be part of this challenge. And I also grabbed up the February packet too, so y'all will hopefully get to see what I create for February. All right, so like I said, I'm creating with some of my favorite things. That is some golden quinacridone nickel azo gold acrylic, fluid acrylic paint. And so I put couple marks down, and then I've watered it down just a little, and I'm moving it around on here. Now, y'all, my favorite thing about this orangey color isn't normally a color I would like, but because it reminds me so much of rust, it's my jam. I love anything rusty and grungy, and that wabi sabi feel just makes me happy. So that is what I am added here. And I'm going to notice here, I think in a second, that this doesn't have enough dark to it. Oh no, first I'm going to come in because I decided I wanted some gold. Gold's been my jam lately. So I'm spraying down first, what is it? It's Nouveau Mica Mist in Antiqued Gold. And then that is a Tim Holtz, I believe, Distress Spray. And I think it's like Antiqued Bronze. And that one didn't spray so good, so I just dribbled that on there, which is perfectly great. And then I'm going to realize that it's not enough quite dark marks on there, so I'm grabbing a graphite stick and just dipping it in my water and splattering. That's it. And then I'll dry again real quick because I didn't let that dry all the way before I realized I needed those dark marks. Now, to give a little bit more dark and to use something that I love using, I'm using a Stabilo all pencil in black, and I'm just going to do a little bit of some kind of like botanical here. I've been playing with this kind of design for a while. I've seen a lot of other artists use it. It's really inspired me, so that's what I'm doing. I'm taking inspiration from other people who inspire me. And so I'm going to do that on both sides of my page, just do just this sketchy, leafy image. And then I'm going to grab a wet paintbrush and activate it with the wet paintbrush just so that it becomes darker and drippy and just, oh my gosh, it's amazing. I love the things that you can achieve with a Stabilo pencil. So like I said, this is really just the journal cover. And the page you see over here on the right is going to be the outside, well, the front cover, and the page on the left is going to be the back cover. And like I said, this is going to be a fun little thing. It was something I came up with, and I was so excited about it. So I'm going to dye that lace with just some tulip fabric spray real quick, just to grunge it a little bit, because the stark whiteness or off whiteness of it really kind of befuddled my brain. Now the third, so that's 2 items in, and we'll see how I use this lace in a little bit. But the third item is going to be that chicken feather. I will admit to y'all, I am not one for touching feathers, whether they're somebody's chickens or feathers I find out in the wild, because my mom has already always told me that they carry diseases, and my research has found that is true. Most birds carry like salmonella in their stomach. And if they in any way get their poop or anything on those feathers, those diseases and parasites and viruses and all that get on the feathers. So I'm very cautious about them. So I did clean that feather that Tiffany sent with some alcohol and peroxide and hand soap and all of that. There's some instructions on a WikiHow about how to clean feathers for crafts, and I'll put that below if you have those same hesitancies, because they can be cleaned. So, all right, as you saw, I am cutting out little strips of paper that have words that I find inspiring or kind of caught my eye in some way, and I'm going through a whole big stack. So I'm going to have like big words from this large print novel and little words. And I put a little bit of correction fluid on the back because I didn't want the back words to be distracting from the words I actually cut out. And then, y'all, I just grabbed this cheap sheet protector from the dollar store, and I am cutting it so that I have 2 sides of it still sealed, and it is going to be what's on the front of my little journal here. So what I'm going to do, because even though I cleaned that feather so much, I still didn't want it exposed in some way. I'm such a germaphobe, and I know that, Tiffany uses these feathers all the time in her journaling. This is just a totally a me thing. I am neurotic. I'm absolutely neurotic. So this is just a me thing. So I am going to seal this feather inside the sheet protector. But instead of just sealing it, I'm going to add all kinds of fun stuff to it. So I'm first cutting the feather down so that it'll fit inside that little sheet protector that I cut down to go on top of my cover. So I am saving that little top bit there. Yeah, I just needed it to fall into something. And so yeah, I'm going to stick that down into my sheet protector. I'm going to dump my words. Now, I made a huge, huge mistake when I did this because I just dumped them in there. And because I'm going to seal this, there's no way for any of the words that are upside down to flip face back up. So if I did this again, or when I do this again, I'm going to make sure all of those words are face up and not facing down. So kind of good that I went ahead and whited out some of the words because the ones that are face down, at least they're just little white slips of paper. And now I'm adding some glitter. I added some mica glitter, and then I'm adding two different kinds of German glass glitter, a gold one and a silver one. And in a second, I'm going to add some fine, or I think it's ultra fine glitter. It's a black and a brown ultra fine glitter, and I kind of wish I hadn't done that either because they're so ultra fine that they're almost like an ink bleeding in there. It's gathered around the edges, which is kind of nice, but it just, lesson learned. That's a lot of what creating is about, is experimenting and trying something new. And y'all, this was totally new for me. I've never done anything like this. So I think that's part of the reason it had me so excited to do this, was I was trying something new and different and something I'd never seen before. So I'm glad I get to share that with y'all and that y'all are here to kind of see how this comes together. All right, so here's where the magic happens. I'm going to go and find my sewing machine and watch. Well, hold on. Yeah, I've got my lace. I've got my little thing. I'm going to snap my fingers. Boom. I sewed that up and adhered all of that, the lace and the little pocket, to my front cover. And now I'm going to take a couple of grommets. Now, I didn't put this on camera because it was kind of a boring thing, but those grommets were originally a light violet, and I didn't like it, so I used some vintage patina and onyx and I think rose gold to just alter them just a little. I wanted them dark, and the onyx is a black and the rose gold is kind of a shiny gold, and that kind of goes with some of the things that are on that cover. And then I'm going to just use my Crocodile 2, I think is what it is. To put those, am I calling them grommets? They're eyelets. They're kind of the same thing. Anyway, I'm putting those on there using the Crocodile. This is kind of the reason I bought the Crocodile, is to do things like this. So I'm super excited about actually using it in one of the videos. How about that? I'm using a tool I bought. So I am just getting that on there. I'm going to put that on both sides. If you saw, I marked it in about not a quarter, a half of an inch in from the edges. And I'm going to grab some papers here in a minute. The papers I grab are just random papers in my stash, and I'm going to make sure they fit between those two grommets. So, and I've also got some brown Sari ribbon that I am cutting just about a little bit longer than 2 lengths of that spine. So that's just over a foot. That I cut that Sari ribbon down, and there's my papers that fit just between those grommets, and I have folded those papers in half. And then I'm going to, and y'all, this took me a little bit of time. I could have done this several ways. I could have poked it through with a toothpick or something else, but I decided to try to use these tweezers, and it took me a little bit of time to get this. This is sped up, so y'all don't have to watch me agonize too much over getting this Sari ribbon through my eyelets. So I'm going to insert those on either side and slip my paper underneath and then tie just a double knot on the back. And I'm also going to get a little silver clip and put a little gesso on it to push back that silver, and then tie some more Sari ribbon in it because this journal for some reason did not want to stay closed. And I don't know if it was the paper or just the fact that I didn't really fold those papers really good, or anyway, it's not a huge deal. I am so happy about this. And the way I'm going to use this, y'all, is I've got that shaker kind of on the front of this and the words in it, and I will shake my journal and look at the words that I found in there and use those words to inspire me to create inside my journal. See? So, this is super fun to make. I hope it inspired you to try something new and different, or even just to try this. I have had a really good time creating with these Yumi Same Three Elements from Tiffany and Michelle, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they made. All right, y'all, if y'all like this, give me a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, please, please hit that subscribe button so you can see what else I've got going on. And keep on crafting on. Thanks for watching, y'all. Bye.